Hi everyone, Jenny here from the Proven Group, and I am here with the amazing Damien from Urban Clean. Damien, congratulations are in order for your new book that you've just written. Do you want to hold it up for us?
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jenny. Here it is. Clean up with franchising.
Awesome, awesome. Now, you've got an amazing journey of how this has all come to be, and I know in the book you're very generous with sharing your learnings and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's call it. Do you want to just give us a little bit of background on Urban Clean and who you are?
Yeah. Thanks, Jenny. Uh, so I don't come from a commercial cleaning background, and I fell into the business almost by accident. Well, not by accident. It was desperate times that got me into it. And I think it's true of a lot of people who fall into commercial cleaning and cleaning in general. They jump to it to make ends meet, and then they find out, wow, this is an amazing business and there's tremendous opportunity in it. And so that was really my story. I was in property development. I lost everything. I had to start all over again. And I was looking at different types of businesses that I could get into. And I had started a little domestic cleaning business a few years back. I did a cleaning round. I sold that business on, and I thought I would really like to get into commercial cleaning. I could see the regular income. It was something that I didn't have when I was doing property development, because I was sort of building, selling, then reinvesting, and so sometimes I'd make money, sometimes I wouldn't, and so cash flow was like really inconsistent. I didn't know what was going to happen. Some years I made a lot of money, and other years I was basically drawing off funds that I'd made in previous years. So I was looking for that consistency, and so I thought, well, I'll start something in the evening. I was knocking on doors for setting appointments for a roof restoration company in the day, because I still had a young family. I had to provide for them. And then I tried to start this cleaning business, and I had a vacuum cleaner on the back and the mop. And I tell my franchisees that now, because sometimes they don't, you've never done. No, I have done cleaning, and I've done exactly what you're doing now. Although some of them have got quite large businesses now, so they're not doing what I did at the start. And that's one of the benefits of franchising. But yeah, I had also no intention of franchising the business, so I was growing the business. And what ended up happening was I had a bunch of cleaning contracts that I thought, because I started learning about, well, how to grow the business and how to acquire new business and how to make sure that business was profitable. And I ended up having business all over the place. And this was when I was just in Southeast Queensland. And I ended up selling a bunch of cleaning contracts. I thought it'd be easier because it was like about an hour from most of my other sites. And so I had a small portfolio of clients there, and my phone didn't stop ringing. So when I put these contracts up for sale, and that's when the penny kind of dropped for me, because the conversations I was having with these prospective buyers of these cleaning contracts was, well, how do I get started? How do I grow my business? How do I do? And I'm like, oh, I'm just selling some cleaning contracts. I'm not here to support you up and running. Like I'm not. That's not what I'm selling the contracts for. And that's when I thought, actually, there's an opportunity here. Maybe I should have a look at it. And maybe because there seemed to be a lot of people who wanted to get started in commercial cleaning business in particular, more so even the domestic cleaning, but didn't really have a clue on how to get an account, how to make sure those accounts were profitable, how to then manage those accounts, how to staff them correctly, and how to grow and develop their business. And that's where I saw, okay, there's an opportunity here for me to share some of my knowledge, and to support people wanting to get started in their own business.
I love it. I love it. I mean, franchising done well is just an amazing business model. And, the cleaning industry does lend itself to franchising. It really works. And clearly, like there are so many cleaning franchises. Um, Great to have you and sharing your story. Really, I love how open you are about that journey. And, I think we learn a lot from our failures, don't we, of what hasn't worked and how you want to do things differently. Damien, let me ask you, we're living in an uncertain world. We're living in really interesting, crazy times. What do you see as the most important leadership skills and attributes that leaders in franchising need to take them into the future?
That's a good question. I I think that the most important attribute for a leader is to make other leaders. And in fact, it's the only job of a leader is to make other leaders. And if you're in franchising, this is something that and you're supporting other people grow their business. It's about giving them the clarity, giving them the ability to set their own goals, allowing them then to say, okay, well, what's the plan? And then your franchise system, if you've got a good franchise system, should have all the tools and resources and support for them to actually achieve those goals that they've set for themselves. And likewise, when they're running their business and they're bringing, because look, I think people should buy businesses not to be employees. Okay, that's why they buy a business, so or invest in a business or start a business. So I'm a great believer that businesses should be set up for the owner's benefit, not just to create a job for the owners. So when you're a franchisee, you need to also learn that skill of leadership of saying, okay, well, I'm not going to be just the person doing everything. How do I raise leaders up in my business? And those franchisees who learn how to do that, they have phenomenal businesses and very large and very profitable businesses when they learn those skills.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think, I mean, leadership really is about that inspiration, isn't it? It's about, inspiring others to be their best. So, I love how you put that. Really, really great. Um, Damien, tell me, who's inspired you in your career to be who you are today?
I don't think there's any single person. So I think along the journey, I've always looked for mentors. I've always looked for role models, and I think you'd be foolish not to. Okay, so I think Solomon said, "There's nothing new under the sun," and it's true. Like if you're out ready to set to it, you want to achieve something, probably someone's already done it. So it's a good idea to go looking for those people and use them as models. And so along my journey, I've learned from other franchisors of how they've built their businesses. I've also learned from other business leaders. I've learned from, I'm a great reader. So that was something that I did from a very young age. I read a lot of books. And so I'm a big believer that your mentors don't even need to be alive. They don't even need to be breathing. You can actually go back, even thousands of years and get inspiration from people. But there's certainly some individuals that have really helped me on my journey in a very personal way. I would have to say Brad Sugars is one of them. So he when I started my journey in franchising, because one of the things I didn't mention this when you asked about leadership, but I think obviously just being humble and knowing that you don't know everything is really important. And that I recognize that very quickly because all those mistakes and failures I'd made, that I don't know everything and I need to learn. So the first thing I went out to do was get a business coach, and that business coach happened to be in the Action Coach system, which is another franchise. And I got an introduction with Brad Sugars, who founded that, and then I got to learn from him and how he developed his culture and how he developed his business, and I guess the things that I learned in particular from him was because he's been going for, I think they celebrated their 30th year just recently, and so I could see how he had developed as a franchisor, how he had developed as a businessman, and how he had created this business that actually helped other people get their best results and also create an incredible lifestyle for himself. So these sorts of things have been very much like, you can get so much from a book, you can get so much from talking to people at conferences and stuff like that. But yeah, when you actually have a friendship or when you get a mental relationship or something like that, you can learn that much more, because it's often the things that are said off the side, or when you have a meeting or you go to their home and you're like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't realize you could do that, So, I remember when I was over at Brad's house once, he mentioned I only work 2 days a week. One day is a setting everyone to, basically catching up with all my leaders, and then one day is just basically saying, okay, where are we all at? And I was just like, oh gosh, how could you do that? And so these sorts of little comments, and then thinking about, oh, how do I actually implement that in my business, can often lead to big breakthroughs.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Wow. I mean, gosh, like what a mentor that is. That's yeah, and really interesting because obviously it's that business coaching side, but also the franchising side as well. So you kind of got a whammy there, didn't you? Um,
I'm very fortunate. I've been very fortunate actually from day one, with a team that's been around me. Like, I've got an amazing general manager. He's helping us start over in the United States. He was there almost. Kirk Simpson is his name. He started like within a year or two in the business. Bill Stack, who was a business coach and that I started with, and he's been there. And then everyone, even the early franchises, and now we've got master franchises in the business. All these guys, I mean, they're just amazing people who've created like. I'm kind of sometimes shoved at the front. I wrote a book and stuff like that, but it's like none of this. It's not really me. So just so.
Amy, and your humble nature says a lot about you. Let's just say, yeah, really, yeah. Thank you for sharing so much. Let's talk about franchisee profitability. At the center of a really solid franchise model. And, franchising, we know, is an amazing business model when it works. But franchisee profitability is critical. What are the skills you see that are really essential and required for franchisees to be able to be profitable and successful?
I would say there's just one thing, okay, and that is follow the system. So whatever system you're part of, just follow it to a T. So don't deviate. Don't say I'm going to experiment. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do. There's room for that. Okay, there's always a forum in a good franchise system. There should be a forum for new ideas or experimentation. So I'm not saying stifle innovation at all, but normally there's a proven method to acquire business, keep that business, make that business profitable. And if the system has already worked that out, just do it. So that's what I noticed with our franchisees, that it's interesting. We've got a conference coming up. We've got a conference in Bali coming up next month, and I've asked one of our franchisees to speak at it. And it is interesting what he said. He said, I don't have anything to say. I said, what do you mean? Like you've got a fantastic business, very profitable. I mean, mind-blowingly profitable after just 2 years. And I said, just to talk, about your experience and how it's it. But all I do is exactly what's there in the system. I just follow exactly. I said, can you just say that so they can all? Because he thought he had nothing to contribute because I had no new ideas. I'm just doing exactly it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I think um it's really, really interesting because not everyone can do that. Not everyone can follow the system and just follow the system. So I think that's a really interesting message. And it's interesting because I was at an event recently and there was a whole discussion around um, you know, franchisees following the system, but at the same time having that ability to, to bring the innovation forward and into the discussion. I think that, having that balance is so, so important. So yeah, I think that's, really, really essential. Damien, I really, really appreciate your time and thank you for joining. We'll put a link to your book, so please make sure we get that. I look forward to reading it. I'm extra specially passionate about cleaning franchises. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so, so much. So many wonderful nuggets there, and I'm sure other people will gain a lot from the conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it.